Good morning. It's Weekly Reflections, and I'm Nancy Joy. This week is going to be really a difficult video for me to make for all of you. So I'm going to go about this as best I can. Bear with me. Last week I discussed the post-traumatic stress that collectively we are experiencing on Earth as we're going through the shift. And I expressed that perhaps we are experiencing this because we have in our cellular memory huge store of trauma and drama and pain and devastation from our many iterations, and it's all stored in our cells. And now comes the wave of unity consciousness, the end of a long 14 billion years of evolution, and what's coming up is to heal the wounded heart, yes, but to heal in particular the emotions, the pain that has been sealed. It wasn't time yet. I mean, let's face it, we've had years, hundreds, thousands of years of wars, of devastations, of earthquakes, whether they're man-made, made by Gaia, made by aliens from outer space. I feel they're to a large extent made by ourselves. It doesn't matter, really doesn't matter, because it's in there, it's inside of us. And I feel what's going on now powerfully is that as a collective consciousness, we are seeking to activate that in ourselves and bring it into love, divine love and compassion, no more separation. We're not separate from God, we are God. We're not separate from one another, we are one. We're not separate from Gaia, we are one, and on and on. And so the quote I used in the written portion of last week's reflection is this: for now, maybe it's not about being emotionally comfortable with the chaos, but recognizing that our feelings are taking us into ourselves and offering us an opportunity and a new energy with which to recreate and heal. And I said that, and I also said, you know, we look at this from afar. We look at Japan, we look at Indonesia, we look at Haiti and the Gulf Coast and on. But when it's in your home area, in your own family, in your own town, it's much more palpable and real. And then the step further is when this earthquake, this tsunami hits your own heart, to wake it up and clear it, your own being. That is truly clearing trauma from ourselves. And that's how we do it. We do it through our hearts, through our emotions, and ourselves. So, you know, I do these videos to help teach and all I've learned from Ezekiel and my journey on the emotions, but I also do them for me. And this week, I had a huge emotional trauma, earthquake, gigantic wave of pain, tsunami size, rock through my life, shaking me completely to the core of who I am, what I do, what I'm all about. And I'm not going to go into great detail here, but I'll suffice it to say, out of nowhere, quite unexpected, this past Thursday, I was made aware that in the work of doing what I do and becoming so focused on what I'm receiving and how I'm putting it out, through my book, The Wounded Heart, I deeply wounded one of the dearest friends I have on the planet, someone who I respect, who I learn from, who I love, who I care about, who is a deeply enriched being. Wow. And I couldn't believe it. And so where I went to blame. Thursday, if I had one of those flailing whips, you know, that you use to beat yourself up to become humble, I was beating bad on myself, on my inner child, and the whole pattern in me was so out there. And through the processing, through the progress, I came back to my book, which I wanted to burn and throw away and never look at again. From the beginning, I've had my journey with that book, but this was even huge. Well, in the book, through another character in the book, I give an example of something that happened to me in my life, where I was in the 3rd or 4th grade, and I ate lunch at school every day. And one day the office came to the classroom and had a note for me that my mom was picking me up for lunch. And in my mind that read, oh, my mom's coming to take me out to lunch. What a treat. My mom doesn't do this. It's a beautiful fall day. I was so excited. Went running out of the school building to my mom's car, big white car, and hopped in, smile on my face, shut the door, and realized, oh, God, my mom, her fists were clenched. She was staring at me with, I don't want to say hatred. You don't hate your child. So angry. She had such anger. She could barely contain herself. And she said, we're going home, and you're going to face the damage that you've done. I had no idea what she was even talking about. I was stunned. That's a mild word. I think back on this time as life-changing. The first moment I realized I wasn't safe. Emotionally, I wasn't safe. And my mom took me home and dragged me up the stairs to my bedroom, where the night before I had an assignment for school, and I created a farm out of construction paper, glue, tape, I don't know, whatever, clay maybe, whatever you could create it out of, paint. And I had in my room one of my mom collected antiques, and it was a leather top antique desk, which in the process of making my farm, I pretty well wrecked the top of it, the leather top of it. Well, my mom went beyond a normal reaction. My mom went ballistic. She pounded, she was down on the ground, pounding the floor, telling me, she didn't touch me, telling me how I ruined everything, how I didn't care about anyone but myself, how unconscious I was. I don't know if she used the word unconscious. Anyway, that has gone down in my memory as, just waiting for the other shoe to fall. And I'm sure my blame issue came long before this. I've had other past life memories. I don't need to get into all that. Everything we need to feel happens to us in this lifetime. So focus here and let the others come as they may. And so what I realized when the waves of beating myself up in pain began to subside somewhat, just like when finally the earth stops trembling and the tsunami's back out to sea, the water's gone, and you look at the wreckage. And the wreckage took me back to my book, the very book that created the wound. And how at this time, I asked for this. I asked for my blame issue to heal. Well, what did I think? What did I think? I had to go into the worst kind of blame, causing my friend such pain. And I'm still swimming in it. So I'm not here to give you the ultimate solution. But what I do know is that this pain of mine is a gift. I would never intentionally, ever have hurt this woman. But in my unconsciousness, I did. I was a wounder. And not only a wounder of, someone I cared and loved. My mother, in her case, was the wounder. And I know she loved me, actually. My mom and I went on to have a very beautiful relationship in many aspects. But I never knew when the next shoe was going to drop. And I recreate that emotionally in my life again and again and again. And so I realized on a deep level, because I had brought up the post-traumatic stress last week, that this is vibrating so powerfully in my cells, and I'll call it the blame and shame post-traumatic stress. Maybe like a soldier, for the first time or ever, he murders kills another human being in the act of war, conscious on what his task was, at the moment unconscious or maybe not what he did, and then having to deal with that, having to feel that, having to understand that emotionally. So I feel what's going on right now is that each of us, through our own traumas, our own pain, are providing the opportunity to move through this horrible waves of emotional pain and bring them into our hearts. Bring it into compassion and love, which was my book was really about, The Doorway to Compassion. But I'm talking about the deep emotional journey. I wanted to burn the whole book because I hurt someone with it. And yet the whole book is about when the pain comes, when you've hurt someone or they've hurt you, here's where you go with it. Here is how you vibrate it into compassion. And now at the pinnacle of time in 2011, when we are going through that doorway, we are all making that shift. So I don't have an ending, but this is powerful, certainly for me, but for all of you too. I don't know if anything like this has hit you or if it will hit you, but even how you feel about what's going on out there in Japan and in Indonesia and in New Orleans, wherever, that pain deep inside your heart is your wound. You know, it's where you just cross your hands over and you feel it and you be with it and you let the sobs come and you bring it into consciousness, bring it into understanding. That lets us out of this painful cycle we're recreating. And now is the time. And now we're ready. So I believe we do have a part in these earth changes. We help to create them. It's Mother Earth. It might be man manipulated through HAARP or whatever means. I'm sure both things are true. But the third thing that's true is our need to clear this cellular trauma is what's surfacing for us individually. So be aware of that. Take this in this morning or whenever you're listening to this and focus on this for a time because it's really important. And when I'm more on the other side of this, then I'll have more to share. But in the meantime, you know, it is about the wounded heart. And it's about being sorry and apologizing for pain you've caused, but it's also realizing that there's a divine orchestration going on here. Mother Earth doesn't mean to hurt you when she shakes. She's just so upset she shakes. She's just so in need of focused on what's going on. It happens. And so we're moving past the blame and we're taking responsibility. And as we take responsibility, then we have the energy to create this new reality of the shift that we all want and talk about. So these are thoughts to ponder this Monday morning. Please, Barbara Hanclough has a great book called Catastrophophobia that addresses this on one level. And let's keep going forward together. We're moving through this. Have a good week, and I'll share more. I'll see you again next week. Bye now.